Hey guys. So the other day I posted a video about serendipity and how I think it's overrated and might actually be ruining people's lives. I wanted to make this video as a reply to one of my viewers' comment, so I'm just going to read it out and then talk about it. For me, I never really noticed this until really recently, but I do use chance a lot when trying to not take accountability for things that have happened around me. Like, there was this girl in my friend group that I liked, but I knew/thought she would never like me as there were so many other things happening around us in this group. I just kept saying, this isn't the right time to actively try anything. Which, in think, made me a bit weirder when I was around her, I think. I also kind of blamed everyone in my group going to different unis this September, so I thought it wouldn't be the right time to start anything. I just kept waiting for the right time to try anything, when eventually she clocked that I liked her and told me over text she would never see me that way and to just leave her alone. I blamed chance and not being ready to talk to her, rather than just being myself all along around her. I still don't really know, but I just couldn't hang out in the group anymore because I really didn't want to upset her anymore by being around her, which was me kind of hiding. Only one person from that group has checked up on me, so I guess it shows how much I was valued to them, but they seem happier without me around anyway. It still hurts to see them at lunchtime when I am eating with other people, and them all laughing without me. But I have to get over it. I know I should have acted or something, but I didn't. It hurts still when she looks directly at me, then away, but it's whatever. I wish I didn't hide and run away, blaming chance for nothing being the right time. But I did, and know to probably not do that again in the future. LOL, this is a bit deep, but yeah, this video just felt so relevant to me, I had to drop a comment. This is kind of a summary. Loads of little things happened along the way I should have seen coming and confronted earlier.
First of all, thank you for writing that. Seriously, you didn't have to go that deep, and you did. And yeah, you put words to something a lot of people feel but don't admit. That thing about waiting for the right time is way more common than people want to say out loud. Because it sounds mature. It sounds self-aware. It sounds like you're being respectful. But a lot of the time, it's just fear wearing a smart outfit. I relate hard to what you said about the girl. That whole loop of, it's not the right time, too much going on. I'll just wait until things settle. Meanwhile, nothing settles. People move on. Energy shifts. And suddenly the decision is made for you. Not by fate, not by chance, but by time passing. And what hit me most in your comment was you realizing you weren't really being yourself anymore. That waiting made you weird around her. Overthinking every interaction, holding back, watching yourself instead of just being present. That's the quiet damage of hiding. People think hiding is neutral, like you're not doing anything wrong. But hiding changes how you show up. It makes things awkward even when you're trying to be careful. And then when it finally ends, when she texts you and says she doesn't see you that way, it hurts more than it should. Not just because of rejection, but because you never gave yourself a fair shot. You don't just lose her. You lose the version of you that might have existed if you'd acted sooner. That's the real pain. And the group thing, yeah. That part stings in a different way. Because when you step back to avoid causing harm, to give space, to not make things uncomfortable, you kind of disappear. And then you notice who reaches out, and who doesn't. And that realization hurts because it forces you to see your place clearly. Not in a dramatic way, just quietly. Seeing them laugh without you while you're trying to rebuild elsewhere, that's not nothing. That's grief. Not just of a relationship, but of a version of your life that doesn't exist anymore. I don't think you were wrong for feeling the way you did. And I don't think you were stupid. I think you were human. You were trying to be considerate. You were trying not to mess things up. You were trying to wait for certainty. But life doesn't give certainty. It gives windows, and they don't stay open forever. What matters is that you see it now, That you can say, yeah, I hid, I waited, I blamed timing. Most people never get that honest with themselves. And the fact that you're already saying, I probably won't do that again, means this wasn't wasted. Pain that teaches you something isn't pointless. It just costs more.
There's one part of what you said that keeps sticking with me. The fact that you know now you were kind of hiding. Not maliciously, not dramatically, just stepping back, avoiding, letting things pass. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. Because hiding feels like the safer option. You tell yourself you're protecting her, protecting the group, protecting the peace. But in reality, you're protecting yourself from discomfort, from saying something awkward, from risking rejection, from changing the dynamic. And when you don't act, your brain fills in the gaps. You start watching everything too closely. How she looks at you, how she doesn't. What a message might mean, what silence might mean. And that internal surveillance changes how you behave. You stop being natural. You start performing restraint. That's when things feel off. Not because you did something wrong, but because you weren't fully there. I don't think she rejected you exactly. She rejected the version of you that never really stepped forward. And that's painful in a weird way because you don't even know what would have happened otherwise. That unknown is heavy. You also touched on something else that people don't talk about enough. When groups split, when life moves forward, timing suddenly becomes very real. People go to different unis, different paths, different lives, and waiting starts to cost more. Because time stops being neutral. It starts choosing for you. By the time you're ready, the context is gone. And then it feels unfair, like life moved too fast. But really, life just kept moving. I don't think you should beat yourself up for stepping away from the group. You were trying to do the right thing. You didn't want to make her uncomfortable. You didn't want to be that guy. That shows awareness, not weakness. But it's okay to admit that stepping away was also hiding. Both can be true. And the part about only one person checking on you, yeah, that's rough. Not because it means you weren't valued, but because it forces clarity. It shows who noticed your absence, who felt it. That kind of clarity hurts because you can't unsee it. But it also gives you something honest to build from. You don't need to resent the group. You don't need to romanticize what was. You just need to take the lesson forward, which I think you already are. The real shift here is that next time, you won't confuse fear with patience. You'll notice the moment you start telling yourself, it's not the right time, and you'll ask why. Is it actually timing, or is it fear of changing things? That awareness alone changes how you move. You can't redo this situation, but you can stop repeating the pattern, and that's not nothing. I think the most important thing in what you shared is that you're not trying to rewrite the past anymore. You're trying to understand it. That's a big shift. Because the goal isn't to replay every moment and figure out what you should have done. The goal is to notice the pattern before it shows up again. And the pattern here isn't you liked someone and it didn't work. That happens to everyone. The pattern is delaying honesty until the moment passes. Letting time decide because deciding yourself feels too risky. What I hope you take forward from this isn't pressure to act perfectly. It's permission to be real sooner. To show up as yourself before fear edits you down. That doesn't mean forcing things. It doesn't mean cornering people. It just means not hiding behind timing. If you like someone, you don't have to confess dramatically. You just have to stop pretending you don't care. Let the dynamic be honest, even if it's uncomfortable. Because honesty, even when it fails, hurts less than avoidance. And about seeing them at lunch, watching them laugh without you, That's one of those pains that doesn't need a solution. It just needs time. You're grieving a version of life that felt safe and familiar. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And yeah, they might look happier without you. Or maybe they just look happy. Either way, your job isn't to measure yourself against that. Your job is to carry the lesson forward without carrying the shame. You didn't ruin anything. You learned something the hard way. Most people never even get that far. So if there's a next time, and there will be, I hope you don't wait for the right time. I hope you notice fear early, call it what it is, and still show up. Even imperfectly. Even awkwardly. Because being seen and rejected is painful. But being invisible to protect yourself costs more in the long run. Thank you again for trusting this space with something real.